It came a little bit too late, I think. We couldn't reward ourselves earlier in the game, and after the conceding the second goal, I think if we scored earlier, we could have put more pressure on them and maybe at least take a point.
What are you seeing in the final third that's not working? I mean, you guys are creating, but not finishing.
Not much. I think the biggest part is creating. I would be worried if we weren't, and we are. And once you create, it comes down to details, and fortunately, they weren't on our side today.
So it's no secret the team has struggled at home, 2 wins from 10. I'm curious if there's anything you think you can pin that down to, and if maybe the field that you practice on versus play on here is a factor.
No, I don't think at all. Because when you look at the performances, we've put some good performance at home without being rewarded. Sorry. And tonight, even if it wasn't our best game, I think we have much more chance than they had, and the goals we conceded may be a little bit too easy. And like I said, we didn't reward ourselves for the chance we created, and then it's hard to win a game.
Was there anything else that you think you can really take away besides those moments on the goals that you can take forward into coming games?
Not really. I think that's what the game is all about. Is scoring one more than the opponent, and when you're down 2-0, it's hard to come back.
So it seems like the team has been playing against some of the top teams in the league week after week. Do you think that has affected the attitude of the players at all, just considering that the wins haven't been coming, even though the performances have been pretty strong overall?
It's hard mentally, for sure. Again, when you're not rewarded for your work and the effort has been really good most of the games, it's hard, and we know we haven't really beaten top teams. But on the other hand, we don't prepare differently to play against them than the others. But the fact is that they are top teams for a reason, and they're more consistent than we are for the moment.
What is it going to take for Joe to take that next step? Is he's had the opportunities, but he's just not converting them as maybe we'd expect him to as a player of that quality?
Last year I struggled as well.
Yeah.
Physically, you miss that freshness, and as well as you want to do, you miss just a little bit because your season is just so long, and it's dreading. You change your whole environment, but I think he doesn't miss much. It's always small margins, and for him now, it's not going his way.
Does it give you more confidence in this group, considering the volume of chances you guys have had compared to when it was this time last year? You guys are in similar spots, but just you didn't have those volumes of chances.
Yes, exactly, and I think the staff does a good work as well, underlining that, and as much as we want to avoid the mistakes we make offensively and defensively, there is a lot of positives, and I think we just have to hang in there.
Hugo, when you look back at a game where you guys are close and putting in effort, what sort of do you individually think about after you sort of leave the locker, like whether as a team or what you can do differently? I just kind of curious, what is your mentality, trying to keep going and, the changes you can individually possibly make?
I think just believing and trusting the way we're playing and the way we're working this year. And we knew right away it wouldn't be the complete opposite right away. And I think we have had a lot of positive changes. But like I said, it's going to take time. And I think everyone in the locker room is pretty conscious of it. And we're all facing the same way.
Chris, just now it's 2 matches back to frustrating performances. How has it been handling this over the last 5 days or so?
It's been tough. I mean, anybody in my position wants to come back and win 10 games straight, but the reality is we've sort of shot ourselves in the foot these last few games, and that needs to stop.
And what do you think it needs to do to avoid that, right? Because we've been saying it for a little bit now. What do you think that is? Is that a mentality thing? Is it a showing up with that right mindset, or is it something that can be cured week to week or day to day?
Yeah, it's just a matter of focus, going in every game from the first minute, focusing on what needs to be done and quality of our passes. And I think you saw tonight, Mauricio and I weren't on the same page, which led to the first goal. I'll take that one. But yeah, moving forward, I think just for everybody, myself included, from the first minute we step on the field, can't have lapses. We got to be sharp, ready to go.
Going from not seeing any games for 6 weeks to playing 210 minutes in 4 days, has that been a challenge for you, staying focused?
The staying focused, no. I feel like I'm very. I've been able to tune into the moments that needed me to. It's been tough on the body, but think we just go to next week, forget about this one, and we need some wins, need some points.
I guess on the first goal, difficult moment for the team there, but is there something you can learn from that moment there going forward?
Yeah, I think what I saw was the space behind him, and I think he wanted the ball to feet. It's a simple miscommunication, but not a lot of time to work on the build-up from the time I got back to now. So simple fix, and won't happen again.
So you've been watching the team from afar over the past, you've seen the team play well, but then, at the same time, the results haven't really been there.
Yep.
Can you talk about the mentality in the locker room, especially now that, the team's played so many top teams and the schedule is maybe getting against some opponents that are not quite in the same place in the standings?
Yeah, I'm thankful the mentality hasn't dropped. Everybody's still positive, which is a good thing, because I've been a part of squads where at this point in the season, after this many home losses, that the mentality starts to drop and turn negative. So I'm thankful that every game we're facing a good opponent, bad opponent, doesn't matter. We're up to the challenge. So thankful that that's the case.
Chris, what was you knew that call-up was something you really wanted, and you finally got it. What was the first time when you put that jersey on with the U.S. logo on it? Do you remember the feeling you had and sort of what you thought to yourself?
Yeah, I had a feeling of pride. And then I thought back to my family, my friends, and the city I represented. So, that was the first thing that ran through my head.
And also, did you get feedback either from Pochettino or the coaching staff that you will be possibly in the mix going forward for September games and hopefully the World Cup?
Yeah, that type of decision's up to them. But what they did tell me was they were pleased with the adaptations that I made and the challenges that they faced or made me face. They were pleased with my ability to adjust my game.
Hey Greg, Joe Jazz on Tap Sportsnet. How frustrating is that loss considering the 2 goals where Dreyer has that much space and the volume of chances that you guys had in the game overall?
I talked to the group and, we talked about it being a very similar story to when we play these top teams. We're in there. We have great effort. We're creating a ton of chances, but we're also hurting ourselves. And I hope that message resonates with the group, because 2 unnecessary goals. When you see the first giveaway and then the lack of organization, he might have been offsides by a hair. We got to check that. But then the second one, we're pressing him. We're in really good position to win the ball, and we get caught. I think we just need to keep going. We need to focus on continue to give that type of effort and, stay positive.
Hey, Coach Jim Alexander, Real Talker. It seemed like everyone, especially offensively, was like a step behind in a sense of they took another beat when they should have just taken a shot and the goalie got to it. Is that a mentality thing, or it just seems that like it was consistent? It was like throughout, whoever had a chance, he just took an extra, dribble, and then it cost him. What do you kind of see that?
No, I saw the same thing, exactly what you're saying. In really good positions, and 9 times out of 10, Phil scores the goal. And today, the ball gets caught in his feet a little bit, takes an extra touch. We had that a number of times in the game that don't even turn into real chances, but they're very, they're 1v1s on goal that we don't get shots on. So, again, it's continuing to work, continue to be dangerous, and trying to create chances, and hope some of them fall.
Coach Romani Kwame getting back on the field for the first time in 5 weeks. I thought he had a pretty good second half there. So what were your thoughts on getting him back into the team and how this changes the midfield rotation?
No, we know he's important. We know we have a big week ahead of us, and we need to get players on the field in game time. So, it was a priority to get him on. And, it's good to have him back. You see his quality.
Tim Hotseman, Red 97. Can you talk a little bit about Brian Gutierrez's game? It looked like we saw some really amazing passes from him, also a couple defensive lapses, and sort of it seemed like an up and down game that highlighted his strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I think that's, he has quality and he shows his quality. And what I really liked about Guti today is that he hung in there and he kept working hard. He didn't stop till the end. So it wasn't perfect, but what we saw that's different than normal is, extremely focused for 90 minutes and extremely. I think the effort didn't wane at all as the game went on. He kept, as a matter of fact, it intensified. So, part of a young player is going to be making some errors, and we understand that. And, but overall, I thought he was able to hang in there during the game.
Mike Napolitano, WRMN. Coach, the lone bright spot in this match was the goal that came from the set piece. What kind of positives can you pull from that moving forward, knowing that it was off of a corner like that?
We were dangerous all night on set pieces, so I liked that. We had some good run of play chances also. That was positive. Again, the message to the group is really about good effort, sustained effort, but we gotta stop hurting ourselves.
Hey Greg, Andrea Montolivo, Agency AF for Spain. I have a more general question. In January, your club signed Claudio Cassano from Italy. He still hasn't played any minutes. I would like to know what are you seeing of him in training, and if there's there's any chance of seeing him soon.
So the idea with Claudio was to sign a young player with a we thought big potential. And let him play a year with the second team and then bring him with the first team for the following year. What we're finding is the gap from where he was coming from and where he's playing at now is substantial. And, it's leading to some frustration on his part. But he's a good kid, and he's working hard. One of the issues is that, we don't have a spot for him right now in the first team roster. We'd have to, convert his transfer fee. And so the best case for him is to continue with the second team or perhaps go on loan for a period that he can get game time at a competitive level. We'd be open to a number of solutions because, we think he is a good player and he needs to be challenged in these games. Yep.
So obviously the news we heard the last couple of days was that the loan to Avellino fell through. Curious if you have any thoughts or updates on that now that move to Serie B fell through in the last couple of days.
Yeah, we thought it was a good opportunity for him. We're open to doing it. We're get him back in his home country, get him competing at a really good level. And now it's just about looking for another option for him.
I know I've asked about him a couple times before, but Jay had played a pretty solid Open Cup game, I thought, and we saw him today play at the end of the match at center back. I wanted you to talk a little bit about his performance today and if we could see him in that position, further back in the future.
No, that was a kitchen sink type of scenario where we put another forward on, took a center back out, and we had him holding space in front of the makeshift back line or the three back line. And he made some good passes in there, but I think his performance was fine. I thought it was good. It's nice to see a player like that continue to build on his performances. It's going to help the group.
Coach, on that first goal when Brady they got pushed back and then Brady ends up tossing the ball. Where do you see, was that a miscommunication? Was there supposed to be a player coming to that ball, or Brady kind of
No, he passed with his feet. Mm-hmm. He passed that with his feet.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Was that someone coming to the ball was supposed to come to the ball, or you just kind of see miscommunication that gave him the ball right there, right outside the box?
I think it was a little bit of both, and that's what I was alluding to when I said, hurting ourselves. In that situation, Chris just needs to put the ball down. You don't need to pass it. There's under no pressure. Just put the ball down, wait for pressure to come, and then we can find the free man. But I think we triggered our pressure by playing the ball, putting it in play, when we could have just held it.